Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to explain doing a manual AC recovery and then what's called the triple R machine. So if you are in a repair shop and you only work at a shop, you're probably going to use this unit. So if you're in the field and do field service repair, you're going to need all of these items here. And so I'll just kind of explain real quick. I've got a manifold gauge set, I have a vacuum pump, I have a recovery unit, I have the DOT bottle and a scale. So really what's going on is they've taken this machine and they broke all the components out individually, because you cannot put this on a service truck and go do field service repair like this. And I'll explain why. So inside of here you can kind of see we have bottles again. So DOT is the one who manufactures and certifies these. So this bottle is virtually the same as this. So this is bolted to a scale at the bottom. This guy is obviously just floating. This is called an internal storage vessel. So we're storing all of our recycled refrigerant in here. We can also fill new. So I'm just going to turn this machine to the side. We have a valve block that's going to do all of our process automatically. We have filters inside of here. We have a AC pump that's actually going to move the refrigerant out of the vehicle and then remove from the vehicle. And then the last thing is the vacuum pump is installed at the top here. So it's literally, this is great when you're at a shop. You're not going to use this other equipment, but I wanted to give you a side-by-side comparison. So what we're going to do is we're going to reclaim the refrigerant from this vehicle, and this is a fairly delicate process. So we have a total of 9 valves. We have a couple of hoses we need to hook up. So I'm just going to start from scratch. So the first thing, the recovery unit obviously needs to be plugged into power. We need to connect some leads. And so what these are is we have a float switch line. So this machine will not turn on without the float connected. The reason why we need a float is if we overfill these, they turn into a bomb, and we don't want to blow up the shop. So we need to go about 80% of the bottle spec, and so let's hook that up first. So these are keyed in one certain way, so we're just going to turn that, get that to lock in. So locked in, you don't necessarily need to screw it down. The other thing is this line is it's going from the machine and it's pushing it into this bottle. So what I've found, we have a vapor side and we have a liquid side. So we're going to put it all through the vapor side. So I'm just going to screw that down. I'm not going to open this valve yet. I'm just going to wait. So the next thing I want to do, now that I have the bottle on here, I'm going to turn the scale on, and I need to zero the scale because I want to know how much refrigerant I need to pull out. So by hitting the enter button, that will reset the scale, so we're good there. The next part that we need to do is we need to connect the manifold gauges to the machine and then also to the vehicle. So I'm going to take my high and low couplers and I'm going to screw them into the vehicle. So I'm going to retain the caps, put that in my pocket. So we'll hook the high side up first. I'm just going to hook that up, and just like I've been telling you, we want to screw these down until we get some refrigerant pressure. So we got a little bit there, we're good. Our low side's down by the firewall, so I'm just going to unscrew that cap, throw it in my pocket, and we will open the low side. So I'm watching the gauge, and we are good. So right now this is considered static pressure, and honestly it's nothing too much to worry about. This just basically means that we have some refrigerant in the vehicle because I started with empty gauges. Okay, this yellow manifold hose is our next connection. So we need to hook this to the front of the machine. So here's our filter, just like in the other machine. We're going to screw that guy down. We're just not going to do anything yet. So we have 9 valves that we need to open. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open these guys on the machine, and I have arrows on them, and they all need to point up. Okay, here we go. So we have the manifold gauges connected. We have the coupler valve screwed down, so that's 2 of the 9 that we have open. The next thing we're going to do is we're just going to turn the machine on. All valves need to be pointed up. Put that on. Sometimes these get a little liquid slugging. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open this line, make sure this line's open, and I'm going to open this vapor line. And see, what you're seeing is the gauges, this is basically our inlet gauge, and so I haven't opened up and touched the vehicle yet. I'm literally just kind of clearing what's in this line. So now what I'm going to do, now that that's getting low, I'm just going to open these 2 up. You can hear it's slugging that liquid. That's normal operation. So even right here, you can see that it's pulling in liquid refrigerant right now. So we are so far in that recovery process. Everything looks good. So at this point, all of our valves are open. The 2 couplers on the vehicle, the 2 manifold gauges, these guys right here, the cutoff line switch, and then the bottle opening valve. And you can see on the scale we started at 0 and we're climbing almost to a pound already. This vehicle takes about 1.5 pounds of refrigerant, so we should be seeing something close to that. Okay, so now that we are getting close to having the refrigerant completely recovered from the vehicle, we actually need to purge the refrigerant out of this machine. So you can see we currently have no pressure in the system anymore. It's actually in a small vacuum. You can see that this is in the green, but the issue is we need to purge the machine. So this is a really delicate a really delicate process. So we're going to flip this to purge, and we're going to turn this guy to purge. You're going to see a spike here, but you're not going to see it there. But what we're going to get is we're going to get more refrigerant recovered and actually out of the machine and into the bottle. So if you don't do this purge, if you just don't do the purge at all, you may interpret that the vehicle has a leak when in fact this vehicle does not have a leak, and we're actually getting close. So basically what we're looking for is this to go back into the green one more time, and it's getting really close. So from my interpretation, this vehicle actually had too much refrigerant in it. So this is another thing, is you could have the right amount of refrigerant. You can have too much that's going to cause similar problems to it not having enough. So it's really imperative that we tie this last step into the recovery process. And then what we're going to lead into is pulling the system into a vacuum, and I'll explain some of those items there. So that is the conclusion of a manual system recovery.